Turn the hands on. I'm gonna be smoking. Oh yeah, that one's going out. All right. Oh, that's fine. I got the replacement fan other week. As soon as I get the acrylic sheets, all that stuff's coming out. That one's going to be decommissioned. I'm going to be taking that down for parts. I have all new fans in. Hopefully we'll never have to deal with this shit again. Saturday Night Live. I'm your host. The goddamn bacon. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do appreciate that here. Saturday night, a night usually I'm pretty goddamn scarce. You can't find me anywhere. Well, unless you go, you know which bar that I went to. But guess what? Not only what was closing time like around 10:30 in the evening, but now, thanks to everybody who voted for Emperor Inslee, now the bars aren't open at all. Good job, everyone. Hey, I'm sick of all this lockdown bullshit. Hey, we're going to vote in the same people again. Hey, why is everything locked down again even more? Let them burn. Let them fucking burn. So instead of going to the bar and interacting with people like I usually would try to do, and I'm fast having the epigenetics of that being beaten right the fuck out of me, I'm here talking to you assholes. Probably later as you catch the stream at another time. Because I think everybody else is kind of giving up on being up past midnight on a Saturday evening. I'm the only one left that does that. Maybe you catch the replay. Who knows? Hang on. Let me do something real quick. If anyone does join, I still have both options open. You can do the StreamYard. I got that figured out. You can also, someone joins, I'll throw in the call-in number. A second. There we go. Checking out a few other things online. Oh, my cigar. What kind of cigar was this again? I just opened the damn thing. I saw it at my shop. It's some Gurkha. Looked pretty fucking nice, and it came out the case too, so that's one reason I got it. Figure I might have a good cigar that will actually fit in here. Turns out they come in all different shapes and sizes, man. Just like the other phallic thing that they're, what do you call it? As we compare to. Don't remember what this was called. It was $15. Pretty fucking large one too. I don't know if I'm gonna get through the whole thing tonight. Let's get that kicked off. Starting off rather light. With a bit of sweetness to it, actually. Not like the acid that I had last night. Where I think it's just in the wrapping that's there. The tobacco itself is not really sweet, but it's in the actual wrapping. This one a little bit less so, a little more subtle. Not sure if this is the right way to describe it, but again, my expertise is not in tobacco. This definitely is lighter and it's a little bit more floral than the one I had last night. But I'm enjoying it. Much like the Red Hook Big Ballard Imperial IPA I'm drinking out of my Three Sheets Brewery specialty glass. It's one of the shorter ones. I have two of those. One, there's this one. This is kind of the shorter version of it. Does this have the this doesn't have a ounce line on it. The other one does. It's longer, it's skinnier, looks a little bit more dainty. I think I've dropped it a couple of times. It still hasn't broken yet. And that one's from Wingman Brewers. Actually not that far away from where I am now. I decided to get that glass because it was especially when they serve, I think it's their peanut butter porter. And that's where me and Bowl of Chaos ended up pre-gaming before we went to an event called Bourbon and Bacon. Also in the same town. We did have a good time at both places. Fair time, maybe I'll talk about the Bourbon and Bacon thing. That was quite an event. First time I really got a chance to visit this town again. Again, this is before the whole shutdown thing, obviously. Choral conductor and composer Eric Whitaker first off. Yeah, I enjoyed their stuff, and I figured, like I would get at least something that I can remember there that would actually be functional. So that was the other glass I got, and that one works pretty good. But I like this one from Three Sheets Brew. I feel a little bit safer though. This seems a little bit more sturdy. Let's just put it that way. Not that the other glass isn't good. It certainly is. I'm sure the way it's shaped gives you some floral notes or something. You can smell whatever the hell you're drinking out of it even better. No, I just had it here. That's the only reason I'm drinking out of the glass. Got it here from last night. I don't smell too much off of this, likely because it's a little bit too cold still. Came out of my booze fridge. Also, my nose isn't the greatest either. I mean, that sense is pretty heightened too, but it's still untrained. And frankly, outside of cooking, I don't know how to train it. Never really looked into it, to be honest. Probably should, though. Nick Shoelander of nickshoelander.com. He does online marketing, and he actually does it correctly. If you want your online ads to actually reach the eyeballs that might actually pay you the money to render your services to them, go to nickshoelander.com. And it's right up here, his name here, Schualaner. He's been on many times. He's talked about a lot of the marketing fail stories that he's come across, some of the bad break shots that he's had to fix. So definitely worth checking out. By the way, he will give you a special rate. Tell him that you come through him through this channel, and not just through the goddamn bacon.com, but this channel specifically, Bacon Comments. Tell him Bacon Comments sent you. If he asks what Bacon Comments is, tell him the YouTube channel Bacon Comments, and he will give you a special rate. What that rate is, I don't know, but he'll give it to you. All right, so let's not dick around too much because we're already well past 10 minutes into this. I haven't even talked about the primary subject here. And I'm sure if you tune in this is exactly what you tuned in for. I like to kind of ease into this. It's like a hot tub, you know. If there's a show that I need to really get to the point, then I will get to the point. Come on, we're talking about boozing. That's what the subject is about. Calm your tits, relax, get your own goddamn booze, and sit back and listen. Jesus Christ. Don't be so fucking uptight. What the hell's wrong with you? But that said, I'm sure you can take a wild fucking guess and guess what the subject is going to be about. One second, I'm going to do that one annoying thing that everybody has to do when they're on YouTube. Click out of, if there's a live chat thing on here, please click out of that. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to this, so you somehow came across this channel, I do a video here at least once every week, unless shit's really burning down, which could be happening within the next couple months or so. So fucking sign up now. Subscribe to this. I don't think there's a notification bell you can hit for that, but if there is, go ahead and hit that as well. That's only going to help you if you're up at the same time that I am. And I'll be doing experiments during different times of the day. There'll be a sober podcast. Who knows? Or maybe I'll have a day off. Who knows? But I'll be doing other experiments. So I'll go hit the bell as well, if it's there. But just do me that favor. Just like the video, subscribe to it, and I would say listen to all of what I have to say here first before you recommend this video to anybody. Hear me out, because I want you to have all the information, or at least everything that I've said there. I want it all to be in context. But I want you to be informed on everything I'm saying before you recommend it to somebody else. I mean, if you want to just send it to somebody and just have them check it out, I mean, I guess that's fine. I guess it gets eyeballs, but I rather people who listen to this be informed. Kind of my thing, you know. Now, how did this get started? Well, hopefully you listen to Masculine Geek. That's an actual channel here. Go stop this video now. Go to your search bar, type in Masculine Geek. Spell exactly the way you think it sounds. You'll see kind of a cartoon thing of like Vince, TJ, and Rob Says. TJMartinell.com and RobSays.net, by the way. Both good outlets to follow. Now, TJ's not there anymore, just his likeness. He's been replaced by James Streisand, the voice, I think. That's what he's called. And he definitely does have the voice. But they got talking about different moves, and I remember, I think it was Rob who brought it up. He asked what was one of the scents that women found the most erotic or the thing that turned them on the most recently. And somehow I think it wasn't a dumb guess on my part because I think I heard this before. I heard this a couple of times. I heard this study. But my guess was beer. What I'm drinking right now. We'll be moving on in a moment. Actually, I'm enjoying drinking out of this glass. There's something nice about drinking a beer out of a glass. We'll be talking about that in a moment. Okay, maybe not a moment, but down the line. Let's put it that way. Aaron Clary, you can calm down. I'm always talking about things in a moment. We'll do this in a moment here. But apparently I was right. Or at least my memory served me correctly. Beer is one of the things that, it was the rock thing that, women like the smell of it. And he had a whole other list of stuff. You can go there and look. I'll give you a quick hit. Bacon and bread were two of the things that were also on that list. And he read quite a few other ones. You can go, it's their latest episode. If you want reference, go to Masculine Geek on YouTube here. Go back and listen to that episode. Now, my guess as far as that goes is it's the stuff that it's made with. And I'm going to guess we ain't exactly talking Bud Lights here. We're not talking regular swell. And by the way, we're not talking like people who are drunk and they have their still beer. And that got brought up on the program as well. I don't think Barney from The Simpsons is getting on the girls because of the way he smells. Well, still by definition, probably not going to get the girls, but fresher beers, like both the beer itself and if you're drinking decent beer, that's what I think it really comes down to. And my thought particularly is like IPAs, pale ales, which is what I had last night. That's my default you know, favorite style. Red being on equal status. I don't know why I didn't think about that at the time. Everybody's that have like they have their own different sense of stuff. That's what all these specialty glasses there are for. So you get the whole bouquet experience and all that stuff. I mean, think about it. Bouquet. I'm talking about bouquet as far as beers go. Where else do you hear about bouquet as far as scent goes being talked about? If you guess flowers, you win a prize. I don't know if you knew this. Women kind of like flowers, in part because of the bouquet. Why do you think it's called that? Just thinking about that, just that logically makes sense. But this led to a whole different discussion, about different kind of liquors that everybody, like whoever was on the panel, Vince, James, Rob, and then everybody in the chat, including me, kind of in and out actually because I was working at the time. Usually working when I'm listening to this. And I gotta be honest, maybe it's just me, but it started to become kind of a broken record. Inevitably, the hard stuff gets brought up, and then the old adages. What is it? Liquor then beer, you're in the clear. Beer before liquor never gets sicker. That one, I think that's the only one that didn't really get brought up. Although, yeah, just stick with whatever you start with. So I'm drinking beer. I'm drinking an Imperial IPA, not just regular IPA, but an Imperial one, which means I should, according to the Manosphere, I'm probably going to grow mantis tonight. I might have to put a bra on tomorrow. So, if following that logic, I should be sticking with the same thing. No, and I get it. But I get where a lot of those mistakes are made. And that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Before I do, I refilled my tequila bottle. So I'm going to add a little bit in my rocks glass. No rocks because this is ice cold. Here's how you make a zero carb margarita. Well, you start with tequila, add quite a few dashes of Angostra's orange bitters. Add in some lime juice. And just because I feel like it today, add in some seltzer to, we'll take a little bit of the edge off. I don't mind drinking it straight. I also don't mind drinking it with a little bit of bubbly in it. So I've officially switched from beer, maybe not to shots or something, more on that in a moment, but to a mixed drink. That's something I've been doing, oh God, literally for years now. Cigar is definitely holding his cherry. Oh, like most women these days, you get what I'm saying? Okay, let me get back on topic. Um, yeah, I heard all the horror stories that I'm used to hearing. Those all started coming out. One of the reasons I picked tequila is one, I have a little bit more tequila than I do whiskey. That's one. Two, I actually do better on tequila. And I'm going to put in my tequila more on that coming up. Apparently, nobody else fucking does. Including me way back when. But again, that's coming up. Theory, I kind of wish I had been able to go through my notes on this, but it's on another device that's. I'd have to do all kinds of things to turn it back on. And look, after I'm doing this, I'm showering, eating, fucking around on the internet, and sleeping. That's about it. If you want me to go find the research, I will be doing that paper just literally just on alcohol and how it affects the body and all that stuff. As far as the nutritionist stance goes, trust me, I did my fucking research on this shit. I may not be able to remember all of it tonight, but I did my due diligence. We'll just have to see how well I can remember it. This is me just kind of off the cuff here. Yeah, I heard a lot of things, and I had a lot of things that I threw in there. Everybody talked about getting, the spins, having the hangovers, especially if they had tequila. And of course, the age old adage of, well, you're young, wait till you get older, and there's a difference when you get older. We don't do any controls for literally anything else. Did you change any dietary habits? Were you working more? Are you more sedentary now? Did any of that change? No, just age. I guess age ain't just nothing but a number. I guess that is the number when it comes to drinking or anything else that goes wrong with you when you get older. And I mean, to be completely upfront with you, that's always a fucking cop out to me. I fucking hate that. Okay, look, you hear it here on this very program. You hear it in my other programs. I don't shy away from that because it's the absolute truth. The only currency you never get back is time. It only moves forward. So until you can find a way to reverse the telomeres aging in your DNA, you're only going to get older. And we're just talking about you, let alone the space-time continuum. Okay, we got that. Time only moves forward. Guess what? Things are going to get a little bit worse. But you're worried about something that's not in your control. Not only that, you're using that as an excuse for shit going wrong. What, your back and legs hurt because, I don't know, you're in 40s and 50s now as opposed to your 20s? What else did you fucking do? Were you doing a lot of sitting around? I can go down a whole fucking trail of that, but pretty sure you get where I'm coming from. I don't know. I always look for more solutions. We got the problems. We got that. What are the solutions? What are the ways around? How do we deal with it? It ain't just age. I mean, that's the ultimate cop out, as far as I'm concerned. But I guess we'll go ahead and we'll go with age, and let's go with. I'll go with my history. Here's what I know about drinking. Fun fact: I think the first drink I really had, well, the first one I really had was like 4 or 5 years old or something like that, and I accidentally picked up a glass of what I thought was water on ice. Turns out it was Seagram's dry gin, and I sprayed it all over TV, and I got sent to bed early. There was my first experience with booze, like first ever. Guess second one, I found a bunch of beers that my folks loved for my get together. My buddy at the time, like he came over. I had redone the garage in a way that just cause it was kind of like a nice hangout spot, and we drank like one or two of those each. And we got kind of this not psychoactive effect, but whatever the effect on the brain is. I guess it would be psychoactive actually. Main thing, we had to pee. It acted as a diuretic. I didn't drink again until I was like well into being 21 years old, and I was working a contracting job. We were laying fiber optic lines, and the motel we were staying at was across the street from a moose lodge. And I think I told that story before. We went there. My buddy we were staying with, the boss had gone to go visit his family in Michigan. Long story short, we take quad shots because that's what they serve there. It was like $6 for 6 ounces of what was it? Oh yeah. God, what the fuck's the name? Well, I'm glad I have it here. Cazadores. It wasn't the silver that I have now, but Reposado. I took two of those. He took two of those. Another guy we took two of those. He disappears. Work buddy like completely loses it. I walk a mile to like the closest 7-Eleven, buy some food, some other reading material and shit. Walk back. You don't really drink too much after that. And I started to get back into it. And long story short about that, I learned a lot of mixing techniques. I pretty much just taught myself. And I did it in my car. The reason I did it in my car because I lived at home at the time. That was one. Number two, there was some chick I was talking to who lived in the San Leandro area. So she would be up around that time. Three, there was a program called Love Line. I think it was Dr. Drew's show, Drew Pinsky. And it was a fun show to listen to. Four, I figured if I was going to get into this, we all know the DUI thing, drunk driving, all this stuff. Now, I watched my parents drive drunk. Both of them. And I make note of that because, as far as I know, none of them have been picked up for a DUI. Every time they drove drunk, made it home, I never felt in danger. Now, there was a little bit of talking, like maybe you drank it too much. Now we need to roll the window down and all that stuff. There was a little bit of nitpicking because that's what couples do to each other. But that was the thing that worried me the most. Like, these fuckers arguing. Like, I'm worried about you motherfuckers being distracted. That's what's going to get you fucking popped. This is me thinking like 11, 12, 13 years old. But as far as the driving, it's just fine. They're both sharper than the average human. So, I mean, I guess there's that going for them. I mean, how do you think I got here? But I figured, especially, if I'm going to be up at like 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and in my neighborhood is relatively quiet, there's nobody driving around there. I'd have to hit a static object to get into an accident. Figured I might as well learn how to operate my vehicle if I'm like really hammered. And trust me, I got really fucking hammered. I made sure, like, there was one time, I think it was about 2:33 in the morning, and I had gotten to the point. Now, it's rare they get to this point anymore, and there's a reason I'm telling this. This will lead to some other stuff later. I had to do the thing where I had to keep one eye open because the double vision thing, I think that's one thing that didn't get mentioned in that show for Masculine Geek. I'm having to keep one eye open just so I can see straight. And I operated my vehicle just fucking fine. It does help that I've been operating it for quite a while before that. Familiarity really does help. Excuse me, I'm just having a little bit of a hard time with that word. But that was more or less a controlled environment. I wasn't getting out on the freeway flying around 140 miles an hour, like I may or may not have done a few times, maybe. Allegedly. I heard that from a friend. No, a lot of shit. I learned how to mix things where learned to mix with vodka. That's the first one mix, because that's the easel. That's the blank slate. You make anything with some vodka. And Rob said it himself. Gin, a bit of a different story. I don't know why I went with that as the second one. By the way, the only drink I think I ever had to throw out. I don't know why I thought this was a good mix, but it was Earl Grey tea, and I was really big in Earl Grey for some fucking reason. I mixed that with not dry gin. I think I did it again with dry gin. It was okay, but I did it with straight gin. And for whatever reason, I thought straight gin was. I mean, that was the straight. Keep in mind, real fucking hard to find straight gin unless you just go through New Amsterdam. That should have been my first fucking clue. That Stoken is the only drink I've ever actually poured out. And I was sad to pour that out, man. Like, I'm not kidding. I was like, I can't drink this. This is terrible. Didn't help that it was hot, too. But I learned a lot about mixing stuff. I spent a lot of nights in that car just mixing different things, all kinds of bottles. I went with everything: brandy, scotch, bourbon, Irish whiskey, tequila. Good Lord, the tequila. let's get into tequila for a moment, because I think that's going to be more important for the people who were listening to this for that. Now, this is a question I asked. This is a question I always ask, when somebody says, they happen to burst, or so they hear tequila, do you want to get that, and they kind of wince or whatever. And it always inevitably leads to they had some bad experience. They got the spins. They woke up with a major hangover. They woke up and I don't know. There's pearls in their panties. I don't know. First question I always have is this: what kind of tequila was it? Tequila I have now. Well, the bottle is Cazadores Tequila Blanco, but it's really it's El Humidor. And it's roughly around the same quality, which is why I got it. Or was it Jose Cuervo? Not the good shit, not the traditional, but just your regular bombshell stuff. Was it Salsa? Now, Salsa is the one that's the one I can empathize with. Because I've had a bottle of Salsa before. I remember it to this day. This is before I came out as a drinker. By the way, spoiler alert, until I decided to reveal it, no one knew I drank. Unless I told them. No one knew. Maybe that's just unique to me, but whatever. Might talk about that later. But I asked that question, and almost inevitably, I either get the kind of like deer in the headlights, like, what? What are you talking about? What is this 100% agave or blue agave or whatever? And I got that the other night, when downstairs neighbors, we talked about that, and I got the same reaction from them. And I had to show them that. There is a difference in quality when it comes to tequila. Now, the good shit, and it doesn't even have to be expensive. The shit I get isn't all that expensive. I get it by the fucking handle. That should tell you alone how expensive it is. But it's decent enough quality. It's been my argument that the people who have had issues with tequila or they had a bad experience with tequila, they're the ones that they drank the cheap shit. It's like it says that it's tequila, but maybe 50% of it is. The other shit is like additives and all this other stuff that's added to it. And don't ask me what the additives are because I don't know, but it's shit that I wouldn't want in my tequila anyways. But literally every time I hear that story and I ask the question, that's pretty much the answer. They either say no or they go, what? And that happened on this stream too. The Masculine Geek stream. Rob himself said, he likes tequila. Tequila doesn't like him. What kind of tequila has he had? I don't know. I haven't asked him yet. Come to think of it, I should ask him. Because if he likes tequila, I would love to get him to try some tequila if it actually likes him back. Mine certainly does. One of the reasons I'm doing tequila now is because it's lighter going in my body, actually. Oh, wait, did you know? And this is why I wish I could have gone back into my notes. Trust me, there's a lot of notes that I've looked over. I think there's actually a weight loss part to this. There's actually benefits to drink the actual good shit. It's one of the reasons I picked it as something that I would stock my bar for me with. As far as tequila goes, that's it really depends on what you're getting. If you're getting the cheap shit, you're getting the shit that's like, I don't know, like it's in a plastic handle or something. At least vodka, you can actually get some decent vodka that's in a handle that won't fuck you up. And trust me, again, I've had the styles, and I've had the hangovers from that. That I've gotten a hangover from. I'll tell you in a moment what I've really gotten hangovers from. But as far as tequila goes, it really depends on what you get. Ray's in the chat. I quit playing video games. Okay. What video games? We're talking booze today. I guess we'll talk about some things I used to drink before. I learned to mix, and I'll tell you about the, put it this way, the coming out party, basically. It was a Christmas night, and here's what I did. Like, I had made a bunch of money, I spent about $250 on all kinds of different booze, like scotch, bourbon, literally everything. I basically bought a fucking bar. All the boozers, all the mixers, all the everything. I've been drinking for like 6, 7, 8 months or something now. I haven't been. I was even stone drunk in front of my own mother, and she didn't know it. She literally couldn't tell. I did a few things, drink the water and stuff, and that was one of the things that they brought up on Masculine Geek podcast, Masculine Geek show, whatever. Drink your water. I'm not saying that's wrong. Definitely drink your water. Dehydration will lead to an even worse hangover. Ask me how I know. I still remember, because I had things set up like in the closet, had a bunch of coats and all that stuff, and for whatever reason, it was cooler in there under all that stuff, so it kept everything kind of cool. And so I remember bringing out bottle after bottle after bottle after bottle and just looking at her face as I'm bringing everything out. I was like, all right, what do y'all want? I can make anything. I only had a few requests. Somebody wanted to make something with scotch. I I think it's Salty Dog, I think. Salty Dog is vodka, grapefruit, and salted rim. If I remember correctly. And she asked me, like, when did you start drinking? It was like a year ago. Right under your fucking nose! Which I took as a victory for me because I didn't want her to know just yet. I didn't want her to know until I, wanted her to know. Which, I don't know, bringing out $250 worth of booze kind of makes a statement. But after that, I did a whole bunch of other things, and I got into the Midnight Riders, and basically that's just going to party rides. You get on your bicycle, for me at least, ride 10 miles to wherever the fuck they're going, or wherever they're meeting. If for me, you probably drank something beforehand, so you're already pre-gaming. And if you don't have all that much money, you're drinking the cheap equivalent of Four Locos, which, I don't know, that's going to have a whole lot of sugar on that. More on that coming up. Then you bike about 10, 20, 30, maybe 40 miles or something, and you're doing all kinds of other shit. Then I got to bike 10, 15, 20 miles back. Now, remember, the stark difference between that and going to parties or hosting the parties or whatever, keep in mind, we're still fucking kids. We're adult kids that can buy the liquor, but we're still fucking kids. Still young men, whatever. We're still in that age where you would get the spins when you wake up or when you were going to sleep, have the hangovers and all that stuff. Of which I look back, I don't have too many hangovers, to be honest. Not that, or at least not that bad. But I was drinking all the suspect shit. Basically, the super alcoholic sodas. Some of the beers weren't all the greatest. I don't think it was in wine back then, so that wasn't a factor. They were all sugary drinks. And even when I moved up to June Lake, I was still into a lot of those as well. Twisted Teas, like Nick Shoelander would know about those. Some pre-mixed cocktails. The cocktails I was mixing that also had sugar in it. Or simple syrup, which is just sugar and water. And I would suffer a lot of the same effects that most people who have had quote unquote too much alcohol would. It's the standard complaints. So I've been there. I've had the spins, and that is not fun. I think I had where I had the spins the worst when I was drinking, what was it, Malibu iced tea, and it was mixed with like pineapple juice and something else. There's already sugar in the damn rum. There's whatever the fuck else was mixed into the Malibu. There's even more sugar, and then there's the pineapple juices, even more fucking sugar. Are you seeing a fucking pattern here? On a side note, I'm starting to see why this is feeling so light. This cigar is going down way faster than I thought it would. All right. I'll go pick up another one tomorrow for Monday's show. But yeah, those were the early days. When I had the hangovers, I had the spins and all that stuff. It was when I was more stationary. Maybe I was the one that was doing the bartending myself. Maybe I was the one hosting the event. So I wasn't moving around. I wasn't doing all the biking and stuff. See, when I was doing the biking and stuff, I would have like, Jesus Christ, I think I got up to like 4 of those fucking Four Loco cans or the Crunk juice cans or the equivalents to those. Whereas 24 ounces each, or 23.5 ounces each, whatever the fuck it was. But it's 12% alcohol, and there's a shit ton of sugar in all of them. I didn't get all the way up to 4 of those before things really started going south, and I had to start paying a lot more attention to get home. And by the way, stopping at McDonald's along the way, picking up, what was it, like 4 sausage McMuffins, hash browns, cinnamon treats, and all this shit. Even then, even after all that being okay, the difference is that the physical activity was a lot higher. So if I'm bartending and just, drinking all this shit, then I was kind of fucked. But if I was moving, again, burning 3,500, 4,000, 4,500 calories in a single fucking day, it just burned all it off. Here's a quick fact about alcohol, by the way, just so you know. Now, you know the major 3 macros. There's carbs and there's protein. They're about 4 calories per gram. Fat is 9 per gram. Alcohol on paper is 7 calories per gram. And the reason they have it is because they do the same test that they did to get the other 3 measurements. What they don't factor in is that you can't store alcohol. You either use it or you lose it. You either burn it off as energy or you piss it out. And so I've learned actually to use that to my advantage. But if we're just talking about just straight alcohol, now other things that's other compounds is in beer, other compounds is in wine, whatever mixed drinks that you're getting, that's a totally different story. But the alcohol itself, it does not get stored in the body. You either piss it out or you burn it. But the fact that I went from having the spins and shit, and to go on these bike rides and I wake up, after drinking a golly amounts of shit and I'm just fine. I burned all that shit off. I burned all the sugar off. I burned all the alcohol off and all that stuff. That's what happened, as far as I can tell. If anyone has any pushback on that, please feel free to send it to me. Bacon at thegoddamnbacon.com. I can talk about a lot more of other experiences that I've had, but let's just leave that there for now. What do I recommend you to drink these days? And I'll just go with what I drink these days. What do I stock up on? Well, 2 liquors. And trust me, I've tried them all. What I'm drinking right now, silver tequila. Probably the smoothest that you can get. You get the reposado nail, maybe you'll get more of an effect off of that. You could. So if you're worried about that, stick with silver. That's the new. That's the not the newest. What the hell do you call it? It's the most recent tequila you can have. Nothing wrong with it. It's good. Also, fairly easy to mix. And by the way, I've taken that in flash in numerous festivals and got away with it. As an aside, I don't know what kind of flash you guys normally go with. Mine are aluminum, which means it won't be picked up by a metal detector. I got my flask in anytime I want it to. But that's going to be the least heavy hitting for you. Again, we're talking 100% agave. We're not talking about the cheap shit. Boozes that I drink. Okay, there's that. There's the other tequilas, reposados, anejos, all that stuff, but the decent stuff. And there's again, aside from not having the spins and the hangovers, there's a reason I picked the not so cheap stuff. I'm not going to say expensive because it's not. And you don't have to go triple, quadruple digits to get decent tequila. You don't. Second liquor I picked, bourbon. Specifically, Evan Williams. You can also get that by the handle. The black version, actually. Now, for its price, it doesn't seem like it should be as good as it is. And it ain't the best. I'll put it that way. Because I've had some pretty good shit. But that's gone up against some other real good shit like Knob Creek. It's going up against Larceny and other ones that I'm not thinking of right now. And it's done pretty well for itself. And this is according to actual expert like bartenders, bourbon snobs, and all this shit. Again, you can get this by the handle. So that's what I get as far as spirits go. Now, if you want vodka, okay. Your options are a little bit more open. Vitali, not bad. I actually use that for a lot of mixes. UV actually is one of the best that I think I've ever had. That literally is like that's the best vodka out there. Absolute has kind of a specific taste. So does Grey Goose. So do a lot of the other ones. You know, the Ciroc has a specific taste to it, even though it's vodka. I know, but it has a specific taste to it. UV is one of the best I think I've ever had. Rum, I'm not gonna touch that. Everybody knows Bacardi, and there's Kraken. That's pretty good. I like that one, but I don't like rum all that much because again, it has a bunch of sugar in it. It's not that it isn't good. It's the after effects later, and that's what I'm not a fan of. Brandy, it depends on how much you want to spend. There's a regular brandy. There's the Christian Brothers, the E&J. And fun story, I was doing a bike ride and I had enough money to get like some chicken nuggets or something and a bottle or something. And I decided to go with the bottle of brandy. I think it was Christian Brothers. Yeah, it was Christian Brothers. Now it shares a quality with Jack Daniels, which I experienced that in person as well. Where I'm drinking a bunch of that, and I'm like 10, 12, 15 shots deep or something, and it's not hitting me. Like I'm getting a slight buzz, but I'm doing just fucking fine. And then right at the finish line, that's when it all fucking shows up. That happened with Jack Daniels. And it's happened more than once with Jack Daniels, to be honest. Which at least then I was being driven around. I was in somebody else's car, so they were taking me home. I kind of had that breakdown, like kind of in their car, like while I was ordering at Jack in the Box. I was still cognizant. I was still able to make my order and all that shit. Got out of the car and all that stuff. I would argue that the brandy was worse. And maybe it was because I had given out maybe 3 shots out of that. And it was cheaper, actually. It was like $10 as opposed to like $20 or $25 for the Jack Daniels. I still remember getting within a mile of my place, and there's this one spot where the concrete was all kind of fucked up. And literally about 10 seconds before I got there, that's when everything hit me. And I went down right there. Still remember that. So brandy, be very careful with. Tennessee whiskey, like Jack Daniels, be careful with. As far as I'm concerned. The other things that I drink, talked about tequila. Drinking it now. Bourbon or scotch. We'll talk about how to actually drink those to get a different effect there. Red wine would be the same thing. Red wine, definitely one that I am a fan of. I like white wine every once in a while, but I'm partial to red wine. And of course, we talk about the beers. Decent beers. We're not talking Bud Light. We're talking, I don't know, the bullshit. Some good beers. To be honest, I'll be completely honest with you. What I'm trying out right now, and keep in mind, I've gone through many bottles of wine, so that's why I'm putting it out there. I'm trying to box shit, and it's not that bad, actually. At least what I've gotten. I can see that as a perfect thing to have. Shit, the stores are closed. All we got is boxed wine. And what is it? The dark red blend that I have in front of me. This ain't that bad. So what's in my cellar? What's in my stores? Bourbon, 2 types of tequila, wine, red wine mostly, and some decent beers. That's what I get. Why do I get those? They all have benefits. Now, I wish I can go back to my old device and get the studies and shit that I have looked up. I wish I could get those off of there. Right now, I can't. So you're gonna have to fucking listen to me on this. My thoughts as far as having a vice, especially like this, is that they should have a benefit for you. It shouldn't just be a net negative or have a net negative for you at all. Any vice that you have should have a benefit for you. And that's why I picked what I picked. And as far as all these, the things that I picked, the red wine, the tequila, the beers, the bourbon, they all do. Even the cigar I'm smoking now. I know I have research papers on that on the old device. I haven't been able to get onto that. Sorry, I'm doing this on the fly. What can I say? But that's the stuff. And just to give you a heads up, in the last 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years, I have not had a hangover. I have not had the head spins. I have not had any of that shit. And a few things that I wanted to pass along with you guys. And I think I've already done it again, but I'm going to pound into your head again. Cut the sugar out. Things that I know about. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Fatty liver disease. I've done my research on that. There is no difference between that and the other one. They're all the same. It's just that alcoholic fatty liver disease gets its own name and the other one doesn't. By the way, the other one's much more prevalent. It just doesn't get the attention that the other one does. I've looked at how both of those diseases interact with each other or how they work. There is no fundamental difference. So it doesn't have to deal with the alcohol. Maybe the alcohol exacerbates things, especially if you look at how I used to live my life and imagine you guys did as well. You're just at a house party, you're just drinking, and you're not burning this shit off. Like I was doing when I was going on 40, 50, 60-mile bike rides or whatever. See, at least when I was doing that, I was burning it off. I was burning off the alcohol, I was burning off the sugar and all this shit. Most of the people who had that disease, they didn't. And so now they have it. Again, use it or lose it. So that's where a lot of that comes from. But that comes from having a lot of sugar in your alcohol and the same thing in the first place. If you have a lot of sugar in your alcohol, they hit the same receptors. The same receptors, excuse me. You're getting a lot of sucrose. Liver can only deal with so much of that at the same time. Not just alcohol, but sucrose, specific or not sucrose, but fructose at the same time. Now, if you're doing a whole bunch of shots of Fireball or eating a bunch of carbs and all this other shit, and then you're doing a whole bunch of shots, now that's gonna fuck with you. That's gonna fuck with your body. That leads to what I have chosen. Stuff that I choose: the bourbon, the tequila, the wine, the beer. Well, the beer is a little more questionable, but there's a lot less sugar that goes into that. There's a lot less oils that go into that. And that's why I choose it. And guess what? I don't have hangovers. I don't have the head spins. That's why I pick what I do. I'll be honest, this is kind of just a quick and dirty. Is just be thinking offhand. So I'll probably do another one, actually, 15-minute philosophy on that, actually. I'll find old research that I did. By the way, oh, speaking of the old research, things that will mitigate against alcoholic damage. One, saturated fat. That's what you want in your body. You don't want the unsaturated fat in your body. Let me repeat that again. If you're scared about fatty alcoholism disease or anything that liquor can do to your body, you want saturated fat in your body, not the unsaturated fat. The unsaturated fat, the polyunsaturated fat specifically, will fuck your body up. The saturated fat actually protects against the damage that alcohol can do to your body. Just so you know. That's one thing. That's one. Two, quality of what you get actually fucking matters. Especially if we're talking about tequila or bourbon. That matters. So get the good shit. And again, like I said, the stuff I get it by the handle. It's not that expensive, but it's still good enough. And third, take your time. You don't have to drink to impress anybody. I guess that'd be the third thing, I guess. One last thing I'll put it there. You don't have to impress anybody with how you drink. How you drink depends on you, and that should be for you. You guys are worried about, okay, I don't know, somebody can take 500 chugs of tequila or bourbon or whatever. Fuck that. It's for you. Drink it the way you want to drink. And that's what I would say. Drink it the way you want to. That's all. And I think I'm going to do the same thing. Go ahead, get the fuck out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in, by the way. If you like this content, please hit the like button. If you think this is worth it, hit the subscribe button. I'd love to see more of you guys subscribe to this channel. I put countdown out here every week, at least. So please do that. If there's a notification bell, go ahead and do that too, I guess. But do that as well. Thank you very much for doing that. Go ahead and end this. Thank you very much for tuning into this. Until next time. Take care. Stay free. Keep it tactical. And above all else, be chaos, my friends.